So at about the hour mark of Last Stop in Yuma County, I said to myself, man, this is pretty good. It isn't blowing me away or anything, but this is a fun time. But then something major happens later in the film that had me speechless. It elevated this film from being pretty good to, oh my God, this is amazing. If you're someone who enjoys the Coen brothers or to some extent Tarantino, then this movie will be right up your alley. It's quirky, tense, and packs one hell of a punch at about the hour mark. The Last Stop in Yuma County is a must-watch thriller. The film begins in the middle of the Arizona desert. A traveling knife salesman stops at a secluded gas station slash diner to fill up his empty tank. Unfortunately, the gas station is dry and is waiting for the gas truck to show up. With nowhere to go, the salesman posts up in the diner to kill time. Shortly after, more people start to show up at the diner, also in need of gas. Two of these visitors are on the run bank robbers who waste no time in turning this peaceful diner into a tense game of cat and mouse. I will leave the plot summary there because the less you know, the better. So, what makes this a must watch thriller? Well, many things actually, but I want to start off with the biggest aspect. The aspect I mentioned in my opening. I won't give away what happens, but needless to say, at about the hour mark, a huge event explodes on screen and it literally shocked me. My eyes were wide and my mouth was open, and once I was able to take it in, I blurted out a holy shit. It is an unexpected moment in the film, and the events that take place afterwards are utterly riveting. It's a moment that earns that Leonardo DiCaprio quote from Django. You have my curiosity, but now you have my attention. This is a film that takes its time. It's chock full of tension that builds and builds and builds. Then, when this moment happens, you are taken by complete surprise and it stuns you. Then, once you're able to catch your breath, the movie keeps going and keeps piling on the tension. The last 20 minutes of this film, you're on the edge of your seat wondering what's going to happen next. It is without a doubt one of the coolest, surprising movie moments I've seen in recent memory, and a moment that would make someone like Tarantino or the Coen brothers proud. It's that good. Aside from the shocking moments that take place later in the film, Last Stop in Yuma is also strong in many other ways. The cast of characters that inhabit the diner are all interesting and they allow you to get wrapped up in the situation. You have the knife salesman who basically just keeps to himself in his booth, and for the most of the movie, he's just an observer. He sort of acts like the audience surrogate. When shit starts to go down, the camera typically cuts back to him to get his reaction, and his reaction mirrors our own. What I found interesting about this character is that he's the first one we're introduced to, and he's clearly the protagonist of the film, but for most of the movie's runtime, he doesn't really do much. In fact, he's pretty much sidelined for most of the movie. But then when that big event happens, he becomes the star of the movie, and I found that to be a clever use of that character. The two bank robbers are also used in effective ways. You have one robber who is tough as nails, and the other one who is more or less a bumbling fool. Their dynamic is fun to watch, and the dialogue they share is quirky. The rest of the cast rounds out nicely. You have a friendly waitress who's married to the sheriff. You have an older couple just traveling through the area from Texas, a couple of wannabe criminals, and a young charming deputy who just wants to say over and out on the radio. These groups of characters bounce off one another surprisingly well and make for an overall tense experience. And the cast here is wonderful across the board. I haven't seen a movie with Jim Cummings before, but he is delightful. It makes me want to watch his film The Beta Test. Everyone here is bringing their A game and understands the assignment. The charming characters are charming, the quirky silly dialogue is effective, and the moments of tension are well executed, and it's all thanks to this amazing cast. This is a movie that's basically one location, and sometimes these types of movies can run out of gas, but Yuma doesn't have that problem. In fact, not only does it not run out of gas, it puts the pedal to the metal in the third act and forces us to the edge of our seats. It's a fantastic debut for director Francis Galuppi, and I'd say this guy has a promising career in front of him. This is an awesome, taut, twisty-turny thriller, and it's a film I couldn't recommend enough. Please check this one out, and I promise you'll have a great time in Yuma County.